This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
One of the greatest things you can do for the overall quality of your life and maintaining excellent health throughout your lifetime is exercising. And for me, my exercise of choice is running. Hi, I'm Carl Gruber, the author of the short ebook, The Jogger to Runner book. I've been a runner for over 40 years, and I've completed 78 marathons. Now, running is my passion, and that is why I wrote this short, concise, and easy-to-use ebook to help you become a runner too. So if you're now walking or just slowly jogging but have the desire to begin running, the Jogger to Runner book is now available for just $1.99. Just scan the QR code you see on the screen now to get your copy. You don't have to run a marathon or even race, just run for the joy of it and run for a better quality of life. That's the Jogger to Runner book. Get your copy today. Hey, welcome to your home for all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening. This is the show World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment. I'm your host, Carl Gruber. Now, before we meet today's featured guest, I'd love to have you download your very own copy of my free ebook, The 3 Pillars, a simple 3-step process to manifest positive and permanent change in your life. Now, in our crazy world of chaos, attack, lack, and judgment, this ebook of mine can be the arrow pointing you down the path to building a rock-solid personal foundation for your life, one that will stand strong for the ages and help you to live the life you love and love the life you live. Just click the link below in the show notes to get your copy today. Now, on with the show. And considering the mission of this show to explore all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, I saw an interesting statistic the other day. According to a recent study, a remarkable 54% of respondents believe in psychic abilities. That men exhibit a higher inclination to heed psychic advice, with almost 60% of people acknowledging its influence, and that 1 in 5 U.S. adults have sought the guidance of a psychic or medium. So with this in mind, let me tell you about our featured guest for this show. So today we meet with Cheryl Murphy, an evidential medium and psychic who has the ability to perform animal communications and help people with their health, relationships, mourning and grief, and connect with you with your spirit guides and loved ones who have passed on. She's also a clairvoyant, healer, and ordained minister, as well as a certified hypnotherapist and intuitive facilitator. She is a contributing author to the book The Last Breath, True Stories of Mediumship, The Afterlife, and Messages from Heaven. And Cheryl is said to combine traditional wisdom with contemporary relevance to help people understand what she does and how it can help you. And with that, Cheryl, welcome to World Awakenings.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, like I was telling you before we came on here, I am so interested in everything you do. I mean, your abilities are just amazing. I've been doing some research on you, but you know, the first thing we'd love to find out is how the heck did you discover that you were a medium, a psychic, and a clairvoyant? Did you realize this when you were a kid?
You know, growing up, my family, was psychic and mediums. And so for us, it was natural. Like we didn't stand out. It was just natural for my mom to have Edgar Cayce books
Oh,
or
yeah.
to bring a psychic, to bring a psychic into the house, or for us to light a candle and, ask the spirit world to come through. So for us growing up, as a small child, when I saw spirit at the age of 3, a glowing light that came into my room.
Hmm.
But for us, it was common. It was only when we stepped outside of the house, when I went to grade school, when you find out no one else around is talking about it, that's when you start realizing, oh, this might be something unique, because a lot of people are either afraid of it because it has that taboo, area around that word psychic. But also, it's really more of the unknowing. But I tell you, when you start talking to people about connecting with spirits or guides, angels, then they start sharing their own stories, of I felt something, or I saw something, or I sense this may happen to me, or I feel intuitive, or I feel psychic. And I'm here to say, yes, you are. Everyone is psychic. We all have psychic abilities.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I was just laughing to myself when I first saw that you were going to come on a show. It's Cheryl Murphy, and I was thinking, wait, I had a crush in high school on a girl named Cheryl Murray. Oh, it's Murphy. So I thought, oh, so.
You.
But anyway, then that's just some silly aside.
Yeah.
But that's very cool about your family. I did read that. I think you have Cherokee descendants.
We do. We have Cherokee. It's like my great great grandmother was pure Cherokee, and then she marries our pure Irish. I have Irish and English, and then all the women in my family, it turns out, become psychic. And I tell this story about my great aunt being hired by the Air Force, the government, back in the day, looking for a missing pilot and plane. And she goes, and she says she would do it, right? She goes, I'll do it, but I'm just telling you, the pilot's already dead. And she
Oh,
did find them. It was like some mountainous region in our country that she found them. That was before, the radar, or, was that tracking was, very impossible at that time. So they used a psychic intuitive, but you would never hear that, back then, right? So you have to keep it hush hush, or nowadays, here we are, more mainstream.
well, that's very cool about your family. But going back to your abilities, what was the most memorable psychic experience that made you realize that you had these abilities and could help people?
I feel that, well, it's really spirit that helped me realize I had the abilities, because that's what happens is the spirit world came to me one day and said, look, we need you to do this full time. We need you to be our voice. We really want to reach more and more people, and we will help you do it. But, Carl, it was always my passion to do this work. It was really just a matter of finding a way how to do it. How can I tell people I'm here? How can I meet people? How can I get out there? And it was really through spirit connecting with me. It's as if they picked me up by my shirt, my t-shirt, and they dropped me in a lifeboat and they said, we need you full time. We're going to help make this happen. And I promise you, within 3 days, I was already meeting people to help me set up my business, to help me get clients. It's as if, once again, the alignment of the universe really came into that synchronistic event for me.
Yeah, I hear this over and over from all of my guests on the show, and in my own life, I realize that too. But I would like to, for people who are not sure about this, I'd like to hear your explanation of what exactly a psychic is and what is a medium is. Is there a difference?
Yeah, there is a difference. When you start delving in and learning more about your own abilities, you want to find out the differences. I do feel it helps you kind of strengthen your intuition. So we all have intuitive abilities, right? We all have that sixth sense where we feel something or hear something. And if we can build upon that, then they are our psychic abilities. And what psychic is and what the difference is between that and mediumship is psychic is all about working with someone, sitting across from me who needs help with their life or forks in the road or relationships, or they have health concerns, or maybe they're looking for validation and confirmation on what they're picking up intuitively. So that's psychic. That's working with someone sitting across from me, connecting with their auric field, the energy field in their own body, right? Which is all around us, our energy field. And so that's a soul to soul connection, in the physical, so to speak, right? Mediumship is amazing. Mediumship is also working with spirit and soul to soul, but now I'm working with spirit discarnate, or people who are deceased, with guides and angels. For example, with you, I felt Archangel Michael right away. I don't know if you ever connect with him, but it's like, wow. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? Do you feel him?
It seems to me in the last couple years, I've realized that other people have mentioned that to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think isn't it Archangel Michael who wields the Excalibur, the sword?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Archangel Michael is so much on our planet right now. So to tell everyone, we can all have the same guide in some way, right? With all of us, or many of us, feel Archangel Michael or one of the other archangels, or many of the angels work with multiple people. So it is common. Archangel Michael's definitely here to help raise the vibration of this planet.
So you can see people's arc fields, the colors and energy. Was that weird the very first time you you meet somebody and you can see that?
You know, Thank you for asking that because it's something that I haven't really shared with a lot of people, but I do teach people how to see their energy field or how to see the auric field. But personally, for me, I didn't know that's what I was seeing when I was seeing it, really. And I prayed and I asked to see the energy field around people. And that's what I encourage everyone to do. If there's an ability or a strength that, if you want to be more psychic, for example, or be more intuitive, pray and ask your angels for help. And that's what I did on learning how to see energy field around people. So that's how it starts for me. I do want to tell people it's very cool, Carl, when you see the energy field like from shoulder to shoulder. So, like from this shoulder all the way around to this shoulder. That's where I'm usually looking for energy. And it is easy to practice if people are an emotional, or if you're very sensitive, for example, you can see other people's energy field. So really you have to be in a place of love yourself, right? And then that world opens up for you.
Wow, really interesting. Yeah, wow. Um, why is it, and I've thought about this before we came on, some good questions to ask you, and I really am interested in this. Why is it that so many people want to communicate with and hear from their loved ones who have passed on? Why is it important?
You know, um, well, I think of my loved ones that have passed away, and I would love to hear or get a validation or hear a message from them, right? People want to know that their loved ones are with them, that they're safe, number one, that they made it to the other side, number one. There is no limbo, but they made it to heaven, so to speak, which we're all in the spirit world. So you and I, we're in spirit world right now. But they want to hear from their loved ones to let them know they still miss them, that they pray for them. If they're having problems, if you and I, if we're having struggles in this lifetime or in this life, we want to know our loved ones know about it. Maybe we can pray to them to help us, right? We want to get out of whatever situation we're in or help us solve that problem or help us attract what it is that we need to attract. So we want our loved ones to know that, look, we can't wait to see them again. We miss them, that we've had children or grandchildren. New adventures have happened in life, right? You get married or, you graduate from college, so to speak. You have a new job. You want your loved ones to know about it. And so our loved ones on the other side, basically, we want to know that they know that we want them to know that we still love them. That's really what it's all about. Do they know we love them? Do they know we miss them?
Mm.
And that's really a comforting message to hear.
Now, you just mentioned that there is no limbo, but many of the things that I've read that there are beings who transition from a body, but they don't realize they've transitioned and
Mhm.
they seem to stay stuck. I mean, I guess
Mhm.
people might call that a ghost. They don't realize it, or that they haven't gone into the light yet, and they try to interact with the humans in form. I mean, is that true? I mean, you said there's no limbo. Wouldn't that be the definition of it?
Well, Carl, I'm going to speak from my experience and the work that I do as a mediumship. With the mediums, the spirits I connect with are deceased loved ones, and
Mhm.
I know that they are over there. I know the loved ones that I connect with. they make it over there right away. I really can't speak on someone in between. I've never had that personal experience when I meditate or when I'm connecting with my guides. It's never been explained to me. So I know that a lot of people may have that opinion, and that's perfectly fine. There's always something to learn from everyone. But I haven't had that experience yet.
Mm. Yeah, I've had another medium on who has had that experience, and she said sometimes she'll be in bed and 50 being souls gather around her bed, and then she says, "No, no, not the time. Go away," you know.
You know,
But we were talking earlier about pets, about animals, and of course, since our pets, specifically dogs and cats, literally become one of our family members, and they don't live nearly long enough. Many people want to reconnect with their beloved pets. So, how is it that you connect and communicate with the animals that are that are well? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. You can communicate with animals and pets that have passed on, but do you also communicate with pets that are alive too?
yes, I do. I connect with, because we're souls, right? Animals are also have a soul, right? We are all souls, and animals are amazing. They're so intelligent and they're very helpful. And I believe in absolute synchronicity on how they happen to come into our lives, whether we think it's by accident or not. No, it's meant to be. And we all have animal guides, by the way. We have power animals, so we may have a power animal guide that's helping us. But really, our pets and our animals in general are very, very intuitive. And in my work as an animal communicator, I do help people connect with their beloved pets on the other side, or even their current pets, to connect with either behavioral problems or health questions around it, or really just finding out how to connect better with their human, right? Or a lot of questions are, perhaps I work with people who want to bring in more animals into their home, and they say, is this going to work out? Or are they going to get along? That's always a really big question I get because of the personalities of the animals themselves. But our animals, they really are here to greet and to heal us. I do believe they bring that higher vibration of unconditional love, which, they're teaching us, really, right? They're teaching us.
And yeah, that is so true. And you and I talked about this earlier. My cat Maya is my power animal and my guide here.
Absolutely. And, and my dog Tiger, who passed away, I connected with Tiger still to this day. But when I was struggling at some part of my life, I had Tiger with me, and I really asked that soul for help. And I can't believe what happened, but he sent me this picture in my mind of the future home we would be living in together. It was amazing, I know. And within like 3 days, once again, I'm out looking for houses, and I get a phone call from a friend of mine who offers me a place to live, right? It's just incredible how this all works out. And the place she offered me to live was the white door with two trees on either side, which was the image that my beloved Tiger sent to me. It's incredible how these animals can really help us and help us attune into our own intuition and our own abilities to heal and to, feel better about who we are as people, and but really to respect animals more. They really they're underestimated still, so we're all still working on that, but they're getting a lot more credit these days.
Wow, that is very cool. I love it. So now I don't know if this is okay. I mean, would you be okay if I ask you a couple questions that I have a personal concern on, and one has to do with pets and one doesn't? Would that be okay?
Please ask me. Yes, that'd be fine.
So, in regard to our departed beloved pets, is there really a place called the Rainbow Bridge where they all go to wait for their much beloved human companions?
Yes, there is. There's absolutely a rainbow bridge. And to tell you, a big question I get is, do pets go to the same heaven that people go to? And the answer is yes. When I do my readings in mediumship and I bring through loved ones that have passed, usually the deceased pets will jump into the picture too. Of course, they're with their family, and their family is protecting them and guarding them right until the owner's time to cross over. But yes, it is absolutely, there is a rainbow bridge, and there is a beautiful healing garden as well. But yes, absolutely. And so that prayer about the Rainbow Bridge, I always send it to people I know who have recently lost a pet, or even for myself. It's just a nice way to connect with your loved ones, human or animal. But it's true. Our animals are with us on the other side as well. And probably, Carl, your animals will be waiting for you when it's your time to cross. Your animals that have departed will be waiting for you.
Which is such a comfort to anybody who's lost a pet. I know
Yeah.
many people on my friends online who mention, "Oh, I lost my dog today," and I will post the Rainbow Bridge poem, and it's such a comfort even to myself. I've lost a cocker spaniel when I was a kid. I've lost two golden retrievers and another cat as an adult. And each time I've gone and read the Rainbow Bridge, and it really, really helped. Yeah, I'm so glad that they have that beautiful place to wait for us.
Me too. And I'm so glad that humans are opening up their homes to more and more animals. And whether it's through, adopting or rescuing animals, we definitely need to participate in this, evolvement that we're all in together, that these souls are teaching us and living and healing. So it's very, very important the work that you're doing, Carl, and the work that everyone's doing, whether you don't have an animal, if you can at least support a shelter or some organization. It's very helpful.
Yeah, and it really is. So, well, thank you for that. That is comfortable. And one other thing, I mean, I may even need to edit this out, but I mean, I absolutely love Hawaii, but I've never stayed there long term like I wanted to. Is there a reason that I was not meant to stay on the islands in the two times I moved there with the intention to stay?
Did you ever live on Maui, or were you trying to move to Maui?
Big island, Kona,
Mhm.
Hawaii,
Oh, I
twice.
love it. So look, sometimes, and I felt the Big Island too, sometimes it's all about timing. I feel that if you wanted to try it again, it will probably have more of a fluidity for you. But I feel what's important for the work that you're doing as a spiritual being kind of couldn't have happened had you been kind of so distant at the time or out of touch. It's kind of as if you need to be right where the action is, or right where the heart is, right where that vortex is of energy. Nothing wrong with Hawaii and your energy, very, very compatible. I know that water is very, fortuitous for you and very healing. Do you live near the water now, or would you love to live near the water? Speaking of
Well,
Hawaii, do you find?
actually, there is just kind of a semi big lake right in front of my place with ducks and geese, and I love it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you even had water guides or animals from the water that were a guide for you. Some people have dolphins or whales, so to speak. It's that type of energy where you resonate very well with that vibration of water, and it's very healing for you. So I would certainly, yeah, I would certainly try again, though. And you might even put it out there into the universe as if you're asking permission to move there before you do. I do believe that helps your angels kind of set the pace as far as the divine timing of it all. So ask for that as well.
Yeah, everything in divine timing in the right way at the right time. So, Maya, pack your bags. We're going to Hawaii. Oh, thank you. I don't want to make you work for
Welcome.
free, so I'm sorry
No,
about
no, not at all.
But when you yourself are connected with a spirit or an etheric entity, have you ever had any scary or dangerous experiences? And if you did, how do you protect yourself in
Yeah,
that?
it's a great question, and I have not had any scary events happen in my life. I'm always coming from my experience, so but as far as protection goes, I do believe when we sit with spirit and we learn that through meditation, it is a practice to feel your own energy, to feel your own power. And then you want to blend, you open your energy field up more, that auric field, and then you blend with the power of the spirit world, right? That higher intelligence. So when you're working with that type of energy, the protection really isn't a question at that point. I sit with prayer, I sit in meditation, I sit with gratitude, right? I always ask to set the intention, which is, gosh, number one. And what is my intention of being a medium or doing this work? And my intention is to help healing, to help people on their next step in spiritual growth or spiritual journey. So, really, I do believe if you come from a high intention and you prepare in that way, then I believe you're in such a high vibration that there's nothing scary about it. It's only unconditional love.
Boy, that's a great answer. I can say personally, being a long-time student of A Course in Miracles, non-dualistic spiritual guide, and many times if I feel like, there's some weird energy around me and that could produce fear or anxiety, I go back to that and I remember, oh, I'm connected to Source. That's actually who I am, and this gentle peace comes over me, and the fear just goes away.
Absolutely. And fear can be sometimes the ego. It could be that maybe you were tired that day. It could be, we're distracted. We have so much on our mind sometimes. So, really, that was perfect that you did that. You go back to source and you even could say an affirmation, I am stronger than my fear. Some people surround themselves with white light, but really, it's about how do we get back to reminding ourselves that we are source energy or that we come from source. So perfect answer as well for you.
I guess we kind of touched on this already, but I see you're an ordained minister also. What role does spirituality and religion play in your abilities?
I believe I'm more spiritual than ordained minister. So I'll just say that I do help people in counseling. I do help people with conversation, with grief, with tuning
Mhm.
into whatever religion they are from, because I honor all religions. I do feel there's a part of everything we can learn from. So I don't really want to put myself or call myself one type of religion ordained minister. I'd like to say I'm more spiritual than that, because I do believe that if we can, open up our hearts, it's more of the human connection that provides the healing than the title, so to speak, or even the religion, so to speak. It's about, showing empathy and really recognizing that, if we could put ourselves in someone else's shoes, or if we could reach into that dark space that they're in for that moment and help them, we could bring them light. So that's where I'm coming from with that. So what I do as an ordained minister is more about counseling and more about teaching people how to open up their own intuition to find their own inner strength.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful because I think too, even as an individual who's a spiritual student and seeker, everything that I've learned has helped me when I encounter people that maybe I'm a little out of alignment. I just try to send love and non-judgment and forgiveness to them, not only to them but to myself too.
God, that's so important what you just said about non-judgment, because in order to raise our vibration on this planet, we really do have to practice self-care. And self-care is about not judging ourselves, being kind to ourselves. We have to start somewhere, and whatever we can give to ourselves and bring to ourselves, we will naturally radiate that out into the world. But it is about to be easier about, be gentle with ourselves, and not put so much pressure. Or if we have anger, we have to actually look at that, move through it, understand it, forgive it, learn what it has to teach us, and it may come back around in a different way. But look, these emotions in our life, whether they're joy, happiness, even sadness, they are here to teach us, right? And so we want to elevate our vibration because joy is our natural state of being. And when we can kind of get out of our own way, so to speak, and because what would you tell a friend if you were angry or sad, for example? How would you counsel a friend, a good friend? You would want them to cheer them up or want them to discuss it with you. And that's the spirit world too. They want to hear our feelings. They want to hear if we're having a bad day because they too want to help us out. So that's what I suggest with people is anytime you have any type of a fear, find your way back to source or say an affirmation. And once again, not judging it, right? Because when we start judging, then we can kind of really get into a snowball or a rut effect or feeling stuck. But if you can remove judgment and add a little bit more compassion, it's going to take you a long way.
You just stated that joy is our natural state of being, which is actually one of the primary teachings of A Course in Miracles. And just thinking that is really comforting.
It's so comforting, and I love the Course in Miracles. I've worked with it myself, or been a student of it for many years as well. And I think there's so much profound teachings in it that you have to be a student and read it, reread it. I've looked into the history of it, how it started back in the day. I mean, really, it's come a long way, the Course in Miracles. And it should be, hopefully, a lot of people are going to find out about Course in Miracles with your show and through people talking about it, because it's a wonderful book on teaching and on non-judgment.
Yeah, and I've had lots and lots of the master teachers of A Course in Miracles on here, and it's just so enlightening. So good. I'm glad that you know about it too. But of course, I have 87 million questions here. I've had a lot of channels on here, and this may or may not be you, but do you channel at all?
I do channel, but I channel more for my own private work. I do automatic writing channeling. I sit in trance. So I'm more of a student also of trance work, which is going deeper into the altered states and blending deeper with spirit. But all this work I do does help with everything, right? It helps with my mediumship. It helps with my personal life. And that's really what I encourage anyone to try multiple classes or try multiple topics to see that, they're complementary. Studying tarot cards, for example, it helps you do better readings, or sitting in meditation helps you create more healing in your life or send more healing energy if you're a healer. But yes, I study trance. So I'm a student of trance. I love to channel in this way, but it's more of for personal readings and for automatic writing. I love doing automatic writing where I channel spirit on paper. Yeah. And then you find out the amazing connection you have with spirit, because automatic writing for anyone, when you start writing out your questions on pen and paper when you're meditating, you'll find that the answers may take a couple of seconds or a minute to come. It may take a while to get into the practice flow of it, but soon you'll find, and I hope you find, that the answers start coming just as you're asking the questions. It's as if spirit already knows what you're going to ask. So they just go right into the answer, and you're already writing out the answer.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's kind of when I write, I've written some books and published books, and in a lot of blogs and stuff. When I write, it I just open up and say, "Work through me," and it just comes. Just
That's
I go, and then when I'm done writing, I go, I wrote that.
You
Really?
did. You did. And you channeled it, or you did it with the help of spirit. And you're a spirit, and right? So it's like your heart's opening up, and you're opening up the all the intuitive antennas, right? Where you're open to the flow. And that's really what mediumship is, intuition, being psychic. It's about opening up to the flow of the energy that you're feeling, opening up to the higher realms of spirit, of divine love.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really excellent description too. A couple other things that I see that you have the abilities to, and maybe you can give me if these are different. You're also described as an intuitive and also a clairvoyant. What are those?
Clairvoyant is that a psychic ability to use the third eye, right? Or to see. It's like seeing a movie screen in your mind's eye, or seeing images, maybe just flashes of pictures. But being a clairvoyant, for me specifically, I have multiple um, faculties that I use. I use the clairvoyance or the clairsentience, which is feeling. I use clairaudience, which is the inner hearing, or claircognizance, which is knowing. But clairvoyance for me, it's all about combining them. So I work with multiple senses at one time, but I do feel that I love the clairvoyance because I love the images. I love all the colors that I'm seeing. And it really does serve as a communication um, device or gift with spirit. So being a clairvoyant is more about seeing, but for me, it's more about combining more of the intuitive abilities.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned claircognizance, which is knowing, and honestly, and I'm sure you agree with this. I think we all have claircognizance because there's been multiple times in my life where I just knew something, this was the right, I knew this has happened. And sure enough, it panned out that I had claircognizance.
And for anyone asking what claircognizance is, that's exactly what it is. It's that inner knowing. It's that hit, or that without question, without doubt, that's what you're going in life. Like I knew when I was moving to go care for my father when he had become ill, I just got a clairvoyant, claircognizant, message from my guides, and there was no doubt. It's like I knew that was my path, because I had had my own plans, right? You have your own plans of how life is going to happen, and then somehow when this happened, I knew that I would be making that passage, or, moving out of state to help care for him. But claircognizant is really big on our planet right now. It's very prevalent, meaning it's very much needed, that people need to step more into their intuitive trust. They're more, have that trust and faith, and to surrender, that we all have that ability for claircognizance. So it's really developing more. People are realizing they have it more.
Yeah, excellent explanation of that. Even despite those statistics I reeled off at the start, about how many people believe in psychic abilities and practice it, there's still detractors. And when you are confronted with the detractor about what you say, oh, what you are doing is all fake, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked, because I got a lot of that in the beginning when I started my practice. Okay, many years ago when I started my business, you get a lot of people, religious fanatics or other people, or just people who are in fear, coming at you, and you don't know how to handle it, right? But, always send love and compassion to anyone who's coming at me with something like that, because they don't understand. It's very new to a lot of people still to this day. It's very new. So I personally, I don't have any of that. Now in my life, but when I do, I feel in some way, Carl, that I've hit a pulse with something, like energetically. I've tapped into a pulse, like, there's something more here. Why am I getting this negative energy from this individual, or what have you, about the work that I do as a medium? Because it's like you raise your vibration, and then maybe there's someone up there to challenge you, right? And you go, oh, my vibration is opening. I'm raising. This is a new energy for me, right? So then with love, compassion, and healing, everything's fine. So what I'm saying is, it's as if you and I, we go up these levels or steps, these upgrades, right? And so, right, I think as Wayne Dyer would say, the taller the tree grows, the more friction or the more wind is up there, right? So you have to realize that sometimes the work that you do means something, even though it's not coming at you the way you want it to. It may be coming in a negative way, so to speak. But there is something to be healed. There's something to look at. There's something to ask yourself. How can you reach more people? What are you doing? And maybe reevaluate yourself as well, and what approach you're taking. But I know from me, when I had that back when I first started my practice, I knew I was tapping into something greater than myself. And I was letting Spirit help me. I was saying, look, Spirit, you're going to have to help me with this, because I am stepping into trust with you. And that's really what happens, is we open people's minds up, or even just the idea, the invitation that, look, there's so much more love out in the universe than we even realize, and so many other dimensions or ways that we can manifest, right? I think you teach manifesting, or, and so there's so many ways to manifest. There's so many ways to trust and surrender and learn about ourselves and learn about the soul. We're such powerful beings, and we're such amazing healers in our own right. So I think sometimes, maybe to show people's greatness can be kind of scary, when we start showing people how powerful they are.
Yeah, even as a life coach, I think that's one of the things that I try to, a lot of people, and you probably have this, people come to, they want you to fix them. But the power is within them, and most people have no idea on how truly powerful they are, when they're connected to source and their higher self, that they really are.
And Carl, you're right. We've been conditioned. I mean, people grow up being conditioned, to say, no, you don't know, you're not an authority on that topic, or you're not a healer, or stay in your lane, so to speak, or putting doubt in us, even maybe as kids. So there's just a lot of ways, or people that have been conditioned, and maybe ourselves included, that we spend so much time learning and praying and asking and meditating and really studying the fields that we're in, to where we have the experience, right? We have the trust and the surrender and faith, that we are being led and guided by a higher power, where we are co-creators in the universe. So it does take education, it takes teaching people, it takes patience, it takes love, and it takes understanding and listening too, right? We all come from different backgrounds.
Yeah, I love all your explanations. And meanwhile, I have a animal companion down here communicating with me, saying kitty treats, kitty treats. Wait till the show's over, Maya. Um, so yeah, and you mentioned too, when you come upon a detractor or somebody you're out of alignment, how many times have we seen the analogy of people are like an iceberg? You see 10% of the iceberg above the waterline and 90% of it is below. And there's so much more there, and they may be coming from a negative, disempowering place that we really can't see.
Yeah, and people, a lot of people, or everyone may be uncomfortable with change. When we're asking someone to maybe open up their hearts and their minds, maybe they've just been, they've had a childhood, or they've had a life where it's been hard, and it's just not easy for some people. But I do believe every seed that you and I plant, or every seed anyone plants with love and compassion and support, that seed once again is going to grow and nurture and to turn into something beautiful. Energy isn't wasted. We create energy, and then if you and I, and if everyone, if we can create positive energy, that positive energy goes out into the world, and it's transformed, and it's empowered, and it amplifies, and that ripples out into the world. So whether I can help someone or not, my goal is to share with them what I can offer them, and hope that somewhere I helped. That's all the joy that I seek, is I'm hoping I just help someone get to the next step, and then I know I've done well.
That makes me think of the butterfly effect. If a
Yeah.
butterfly flaps its wings on the shores of Japan, does it create a tsunami in California? So, in reality, we will never ever know the true extent of our effect on a person, place, or thing, or the entire world. As a matter of fact.
It's so true. And that power of prayer, for people who use prayer to help others, even looking at the power of prayer, and how we pray for people who are not praying for themselves, or who don't pray, that energy too is going out to help others. So there's so much amazing energy out there to learn from and to receive at the same time, because being a light worker, being a spiritual being, we are all supposed to remember to receive the goodness, not just give, 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 right? Because we get drained. We want to receive the amazing love from the universe, the amazing love from your animals, right? From your lovely cat, the amazing love from your parents, or from a friend, or from a spouse or a child. An experience, an adventure, nature has so much amazing energy. If you ever do meditate in nature, I would encourage it for anyone listening to take a hike, connect with the rivers, the mountains, the trees. Really, I do believe nature's like the perfect image of God in some way, right? I always say, look to nature if you're looking for God, right? Or look to nature if you're looking for source energy, because it is of a high vibration, and there's no judgment. There's a peacefulness about it all. So I hope people take that advice and get out into nature. It really does help you find your own harmonic resonance about what you do feel like as a spiritual being.
Yeah, and I'm sure my viewers and listeners are sick of hearing me say this, but being a runner for the last 44 years, I go running through a park or even just in the neighborhood streets, and I don't wear earbuds. I'm going, Hi, tree. Good morning, flowers. That type of thing. And my advice is, if you're going out for a hike or a walk or a run in nature, leave your cell phone at home. It's a detractor to take you away from all of the beauty that's surrounding you right there.
Totally. And, nature, it's like a cleansing. It's a cleansing, it's a releasing of maybe your problems for the day, just kind of shaking it off, so to speak, or hopefully, getting all your worries out and about, so to speak, to where you can kind of start taking good, deep breaths in of all that wonderful oxygen in nature. But you're right. Leave all the electronics in the car.
Absolutely. And of course, we are speaking with the amazing Cheryl Murphy. She is a psychic and a medium, among other amazing abilities. I would like to find out about this book that you're a contributing author to, The Last Breath: True Stories of Mediumship, the Afterlife and Messages from Heaven. What's your story about in that?
So my story is about Spirit Party. That's my chapter title, excuse me. But that experience, Carl, was about experiencing the spirit world in an amazing way. I was in I was in Mississippi helping my father. I mentioned I was leaving to care for him. So he's getting ready to transition. I had been with him for a couple of years. And that spirit party chapter in that book is my experience of what it was like to see guides, angels, loved ones, relatives from the other side coming through to celebrate my father's transitioning. So it's as if, to tell the story briefly, I was coming home from the hospital. My father was going to pass shortly, but I was making a quick trip home to just have a little bit of a respite in his home, excuse me, in Mississippi. So I was just a couple of miles from the hospital as I drive in the driveway of my father's house. So I'm taking care of all of his mail and what have you. I walk in the door of the kitchen and it's quiet. Everything's quiet. But all of a sudden, there's a light on, there's music on. The kitchen is crowded, Carl, with spirits moving right and left. And I just wanted to come home for a few minutes of quiet time, and it was noisy. These were loved ones, guides, angels, planning his transition. It's as if they were having a party or planning a party, and there were many of them in the kitchen, the living room, and I almost felt crowded. I had to excuse my way just to get through the house for those few minutes I was there. And they were all busy and encouraging and very happy and excited because something wonderful was happening. Now, while I was at that home, Carl, for that time when I was hearing the guides and seeing the angels and hearing the music, I also heard return to the hospital. You got to go back. You got to go back. And I dropped everything I was doing. I went back. I had green lights the whole way to
Ah,
get me there quickly. And as soon as I walked in the room, I felt my father was beginning to transition. So during his transition in the hospital room, that's when I started feeling a lot of my loved ones step in. His mother, his wife, my stepmother, and other relatives that had passed, my aunt. So really, it is an amazing chapter that I get to participate and contribute to that talks about you never die alone. No one dies alone. And there's always guides, angels, animals from spirit. Everyone's there helping us, and they're there to welcome us and to, like you said, take us over that bridge, or just really transition knowing that there's light and love helping them and waiting for them.
well, I'm sure that is absolutely comforting for so many people to hear. And also, wow, what a story. You come home and there's a party of spirits in your house.
Crazy. It was crazy. Lights were on, there was music. It's like, who else is here? And then you walk in, and I mean, who else could it be but other spirits there?
Well, we're going to wind this down, and I do want to ask you. I see that you're the founder of something called the Healing Prayer Circle. Can you tell us about that?
My healing prayer circle is online and it's free to join. And I hold a healing prayer circle and I do a meditation. I offer that every Sunday evening. So for anyone that's interested, they can join me on Zoom, become a member. Once again, it's free to join. I encourage people to share it with their loved ones or their family members. It comes with a private Facebook page. So we sit together in the power of prayer and meditation together. We talk about manifesting, releasing, and we sit together in that group energy. So it's virtual, right? It's online, but I know that everyone can feel that energy when we come together as a group. And once again, as we set the intention, and that's really, if you can remember that, set your intention for the day, even if you're just going about your day, set your intention to have a great day. Set your intention to go out into the world to help someone else. But really, I encourage people to join. I love my healing prayer circle, Carl. I've been doing it, gosh, I don't know, 8 years now at least. I love it.
Yeah, that sounds great. And they can just go to your website to do that. And what is your website?
My website is mediumcheryl.com, and you'll see the tab that says Join the Healing Prayer Circle.
Awesome. And you also teach people to develop their own psychic ability, right?
I do. Yes, I do private mentoring with students online, and also I do a group inner circle monthly mentorship. So I do a group energy also. And so along with private readings, I'm doing group teaching, I'm doing demonstrations online. I have my healing prayer circle. And then I have an energy transformation sessions, which I just started in 2024. It's going pretty well. I can't wait to take it another level in 2025. But that's where I offer people, we're talking about spiritual health and fitness, right? How to keep yourself, how to practice self-care, right? How to keep those chakras opened and balanced. And we work on exercises on whether it's journaling or automatic writing, as I mentioned. So that's something that I'm really hoping people enjoy. It's almost like a mentorship program, but it's more about your energy field.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very interesting, very cool stuff. And Cheryl, thank you for being on World Awakenings. I mean, everything you said is, I love how you explain it. I think people are going to understand all these things, psychic, mediumship, etc., clairvoyancy, all the clairs. And I appreciate what you're doing for the world. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, Carl. Thank you.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.